Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Strange Stories. I'm Roger here, Hanson, and I'm here with you for another part of what I was discussing last week. Well, I'm covering basically um, Japanese. Japanese folklores, Japanese hauntings, things of that nature. It's strange stories about Japan, basically. Now, if I can find my place, I will get things started. But we last in the last couple episodes, we have been discussing. We started discussing Mount Fuji and the Suicide Forest, and after I did it one time, I wanted to go and do it again because I had pulled up some more information that I wanted to do on it. And then I brought in the topic of Mount Abasuti, Abasut, or Obasut, however they talked about it. And I talked about some of the Abasut rituals that the Buddhist temples near the mountain performed and things of that nature. I also got into some other spiritual aspects, which is a part of that whole situation. Now, that had to do with the Kami, then the Oban festivals. I covered that, and I went through the Abasut and the Botoki, I believe is how it was pronounced. So today, I wanted to go further because after doing that, I wanted to go into Tanos and the Kappa, and the Tanos Kappa pool. Now, besides that, I also wanted to I was talking about this last week, and I decided that I'm going to, because at first I was like, I don't want to bring a lot of the scary stories and stuff like that are fictional into this topic. But then I said it even last week. I said, hold on, man, this is strange stories. This isn't strange history or the 10 scariest places in Japan. This is strange stories, so why not incorporate that stuff into it? So I've decided to put at least some of it back onto the stream. That way we can have a pretty interesting topic, and it'll make it even better, because there's a lot of stuff that's influenced by Japanese folklore and in their heritage. There's a lot of anime, a lot of scary movies that's been put out that concerns a lot of this folklore, and that's where it stems from. So I figured I would go ahead and I would bring it up in some of it, because it is pretty fascinating where a lot of these movies come from. So I figured I would do that. But before I get deep into it, I'm gonna give you guys the clean, the anime version of what the Kappa monster is. And that, by doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read some information concerning the Tanos Kappa pool, which is in Japan. It's in the Owati prefecture. Now, this is after the time where the Buddhists finally came down into Japan, or came over to Japan, however you'd say it. This is the beliefs of the Kappa after the Buddhists kind of tamed them down, where they are more of mischievous or devilish and things of that nature, and they're not according to what they originally were. So let me go ahead and I can go through some of the stuff that I already pulled up together now. Now the city of Tano is what I was talking about. It's in Wati prefecture and is well known for its local legends, beliefs, and traditions. The folklore of the people was immortalized in Kunio Unagati's Tano Monogatari, the legend of Tano. Of all the unique and bizarre stories, perhaps none is as well known as the Kappa. This monster can supposedly be found all over Japan, but Kappa Buchi Pool in Tano is probably the most famous Kappa hangout across the nation. Since here, I gotta move this. I got stuff stuck up here. Since ancient times, there have been numerous reported sightings of the elusive Kappa. They have been described as a unusually green, sometimes blue or even yellow, red, or orange reptile, the height of a small child with a turtle shell on its back. Kappa live near waterways as they need water to survive, and not just for drinking. A distinctive trait of Kappa is a depression on the top of its head, forming a bowl to carry water. Should the water be removed for any reason, the Kappa is zapped and its energy and may even die. Kappa, like most monster legends, were created to scare children for the purpose of keeping them away from dangerous places or performing an undesired behavior. In this case, don't go swimming in the rivers without mommy or daddy. Now that is what they say in Japan Travel. So let me go ahead and get into Tano's Kappa pool and then go to the Kappa. Now Tano's a town steeped in folklore and is home to the Kappa pool, where mischievous water spirits are said to dwell. Kappa, known for their trickery and dangerous antics, are a staple in Japanese mythology. The Kappa, one of Japan's most iconic yokai supernatural creatures, occupies a prominent place in Japanese folklore cultural history. Known as mischievous and enigmatic beings, Kappas are believed to inhabit rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water across Japan, and their stories range from light-hearted pranks to sinister encounters. The small turtle-like water creatures with a humanoid shape. No, the small turtle-like water creatures with a humanoid shape and a dish of water on their head, which is the source of their strength. Now, this right here is what I want to point out. It's not a bowl. It is a dish that is supposed to be at the top of their head. In what I had just read to you, it mentioned the fact that that's what this is. This is supposed to be a dish on their head, so just be aware that that's not what it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a dish, and there's a reason for that, because in a lot of this it has to do with dishes and not cups or bowls. I didn't say. The other one said it was a bowl, and it wasn't a bowl. It's actually a dish. Just want to make that clear so that people understands that. Now, they're also supposed to be mischievous and sometimes malevolent. Kappas are known for pulling people into water or stealing their shirikodama, which is a mythical organ. Now, this is where it starts getting into the more, hold on a minute. Okay, now this is where it starts getting into the more sinister part of the whole myth. This goes back to the belief in the I got a little distracted, in the Kappa before Buddhism actually moved into Japan. All right. Now, before they were basically pacified and made into little creatures or monsters that the Japanese would go to these pools to give offerings to. They were actually malevolent, and the Kappas were known for pulling people into the water and stealing a mythical organ that was supposed to be within the human body. But they can also be helpful if they're treated kindly, according to legends. Now, I don't know if that was the older tradition or if it was changed after the Buddhists kind of made it more passive, I guess you could say. But it is said that they can also be helpful if treated kindly. So that is something right there that I do want to bring up. Now, the word kappa translates to river child in Japanese. It's a fitting name for these water-dwelling entities. The kappa is thought to have its origins in ancient Japanese animism, and where natural features like the rivers and mountains were imbued with spirits. Now, these early beliefs eventually merged into Buddhist and Shinto traditions, giving the kappa a dual role as both a protector and a potential threat. Shinto is the beliefs that was around before Buddhism came into Japan, and that's what I was discussing the last time, where it merged together basically. And the weird part about the whole deal was when Buddhism and Shinto merged together, there was no conflict, like no physical conflicts about it. Whereas, and don't get me wrong, there were people who probably disagreed with it and everything, but there was actually no conflicts about it. They kind of married one another pretty good, you know. That was something that I brought up the last time. I'm not going to ponder on it too much, but I did want to bring it up again. These earlier beliefs eventually merged with Buddhist and Shinto traditions, like I said, and that gave the kappa a dual role as both the protector and a potential threat. Now, some scholars trace the kappa's roots to older Chinese and Indian myths about water spirits introduced to Japan via cultural exchange. Now, these influences likely helped shape the kappa into the multifaceted figures they are today. Now, the kappa are typically described as small, human-like creatures with amphibian features, while regional variations exist. Okay, the following traits are commonly associated with the kappa. Now, kappas have a child-sized body resembling that of a human, though often with exaggerated or grotesque proportions. So they do have a humanoid body, but they usually have like a grotesque they have grotesque proportions. So that means they're not very, very pretty at all. Okay. They do have a hard shell on their back, similar to that of a turtle, which that would make you think of the Teenage Mutant Turtles, things of that nature. When I was talking about like myths being used in today's culture and stuff like that, that would be something you could think of too. Now the shell actually provides protection, and it emphasizes their like aquatic nature. Now, they also have web feet or web digits, which aid in swimming, and it makes them agile in water. Now, the kappas often have a beak-like mouth and skin that range from hold on a minute. Okay, so the kappas also have a beak-like mouth and skin that ranges from green to yellow or blue, which resembles reptiles or amphibians. Perhaps the most distinctive feature is the Sarah. Now this is the dish. Sarah is the Sarah dish, which is on top of their head. Like I said, it's not a bowl, it's not a cup, it's a dish, and that's on top of their head. Now this bowl-like indentation holds water, which is believed to be the source of the kappa's strength. If the water spills, the kappa becomes weakened or even immobilized. Now I did make a note of this, and this is something that refers to the dish, okay? And things of that nature. This also goes into a lot of folklore that eventually became stories that was incorporated into the Japanese literature and then plays and stuff of that nature. Now, there is an intriguing network of correlations between the various elements of things like the Sarah Heavy, Sarah the indentation on the kappa's head, which we were just discussing, and then there's the Sarah Yashiki, okay, and there's also another urban myth about the acrobatic Sarah. Now, all of these share overlapping themes and symbols rooted in Japanese folklore, mythology, and cultural traditions. Now, while these elements are not directly connected in a single unified narrative, they share symbolic links that revolve around the concept of Sarah, which translates to plate or dish. Okay? And its metaphorical association with fate. Now, that's the thing that it has involved in it too. It's got a metaphorical association with fate, water, and the supernatural. Now, Sarah Heavy, or dish snake, is a type of yukai, which we were discussing before. Okay, and this is a supernatural entity in Japanese folklore. It is described as a snake that carries a small dish on its head. Now, this dish is believed to hold a magical liquid, often associated with poison or elixirs, which grants mystical powers or can be deadly if spilled. Okay, after that, the imagery of the dish on the snake's head parallels the kappa's head indentation, the Sarah. Okay, creating a symbolic connection between the two creatures as being tied to water, mysticism, and potential danger. Now, the dish also represents the idea of balance and offerings, and offerings, tying into themes of respect for nature and the spirits. Now, the kappa is a famous water-dwelling yokai, just like the what was it? Yeah. Now, the hold on, I'm having an issue right here. Yeah, I'll be right. Okay, yeah, I'll be right back real quick. I have got to take care of something. If you haven't noticed, I had some noise back behind me a second ago. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so let me see. The imagery of the dish on the snake's head parallels the kappa's head indentation, the Sarah. Okay, the kappa, Sarah. No, the kappa is a famous water-dwelling yogi, known for its indentation or dish, Sarah on its head. Now, the thing is that it does resemble that of the Sarah Hebi, which is also the dish snake. Okay, so you have a dish turtle, basically, and then you have a dish snake. The dish, the dish on both of their heads have a symbolic connection, which is tied to water, mysticism, and potential danger, like I just said. Now, the dish also represents the idea of balance and offerings, tying into themes of respect for nature and spirits. The kappa is a famous water-dwelling yokai, just like the Sarah Hebi, known for the indentation or dish on its head, the Sarah. Now, this dish holds water, which is said to be the source of the kappa's life force. Now, if the water is spilled, the kappa becomes weakened or even dies. Now, the kappa's Sarah connects to the themes of life, death, and reverence for water as a life-giving force. This concept mirrors Sarah Habi's mystical liquid and the Sarah of Sarashiki as symbols of faith, faith and spiritual consequences. The kappa's reliance on its Sarah for survival also reinforces its portrayal as a creature of duality, both a threat and a benefactor to humans, depending on the context of the interaction. Now, Sarayashiki is a famous Japanese ghost story. Now, this is the one that I was going to leave out, but I decided no, I'm going to go ahead and incorporate this in, because this kind of shows you how this folklore has influenced Japan, starting out with like a ghost story. Okay, now it I believe eventually became a play, and even has been incorporated into some movies. Like, there's one that's really going to stick out to you when I read this. But let me move this mic. But let me go ahead and start this up. Now, Sarayashiki is a famous Japanese ghost story about a maid named Okiku, who was wrongly accused of breaking a set of precious plates, which are Sarah's, and is thrown into a well as punishment. Her spirit returns, haunting the well and counting the plates endlessly. symbolizing unresolved injustice and unfulfilled duty. The stories focus on plates, which are Sarah's, connects to the broader symbolic theme of balance, accountability, and the spiritual weight of broken promises or oaths. The well, as a liminal space between life and death, mirrors the Kappa's aquatic realm, where water serves as a gateway to the supernatural. Okiku's ghostly presence around the well aligns with the idea of spirits tied to specific objects or places of significance. The urban myth of acrobatic Sarah is a more modern phenomenon, often tied to eerie tales of ghostly sightings or unexpected phenomena. In some variations, it refers to a mysterious figure or spirit performing acrobatics with dishes or plates. This myth can be interpreted as a playful, surreal twist on the traditional symbolism of Sarah. It transforms the serious undertones of balance and spiritual reckoning into something uncanny and otherworldly, reflecting modern fears and fascination with the inexplicable. Water is a recurring theme in these stories, from the Kappa's reverent habitat to the well in Sarayashiki, and the mystic liquid in the Sarah Hebe's dish. And forgive me for tearing these words up. I'm trying my best. So I'm bad at saying these words. I've been having issues with Greek too. So water often symbolizes life, purity, and the boundary between worlds in Japanese folklore. The Sarah represents balance, fate, and spiritual connection. In Sarayashiki, the broken plates signify a broken promise, while the Sarah Hebi and the Kappa, while in Sarah Hebi and the Kappa, the dish is a vessel for life and mystical power. Now, the haunting of Okiku and the Kappa's role as a trickster or moral enforcer highlights the theme of cosmic or spiritual justice. Myths like acrobatic Sarah reflect how traditional symbols evolve over time, taking on new meanings in urban legends while retaining their root in older folklore. So, with that being said, I'm going to return to just talking about the Kappas, okay? Now, the Kappas are complex creatures with a dual nature, embodying both the benevolent and the malice. Their behaviors can be divided into several categories. Now, Kappas are infamous for their pranks, which range from harmless to humiliating. These tricks include stealing crops, frightening livestock, and playing practical jokes on unsuspected humans. Their playful nature is often likened to that of children, albeit with a darker edge. Despite their playful side, Kappas have a fearsome reputation for luring humans and animals into the water to drown them. They are particularly notorious for their pursuit of shirikadama, which is a mythical organ, like I mentioned before, said to reside in a person's anus. Legends suggest that Kappas extract this organ as part of their diet or rituals, contributing to their sinister image. Kappas are also depicted as strong and skilled fighters, often challenging humans in sumo wrestling matches. They're cunning and use their aquatic abilities to their advantages. Now, before I get started here, I want to go over some of the things that I have covered here. Now, I want to talk about the Shirikadama, I believe is what it is. Now, the Shirikadama is also called the Hirikodama. It's sometimes spelled as Shirikadama. And it's a mysterious concept in Japanese folklore. It's closely tied to the myth of the Kappa, which I was just talking about, the legendary water-dwelling yokai. This mythical entity is said to reside inside a person's body. Okay, significantly in the lower abdomen, which is the anus. Okay. And what we're talking about is the Shirikodama, not the Kappa. This is supposed to be in the anus, and is believed to be the source of life energy and spiritual essence. Now, the Hirikodama is often described as a glowing marble-like orb, although its exact nature is ambiguous and varies across stories. The concept of the Hirikodama likely stems from traditional Japanese beliefs about the soul and the life force. In some interpretations, it is thought to represent the Shiken, the four souls in Japanese animistic traditions, or a life essence. Now, right here is where I want to go and discuss the Shiken. Okay, this is where we start talking about the four souls. Now, the Shiken, often translated as four souls, is a concept from Japanese folklore and Shinto philosophy that describes the spiritual essence or component of the human soul, or components of the human soul. This idea is deeply rooted in ancient Japanese thought and has influenced cultural practices, literature, and even modern media. The Shiken is said to consist of four distinct yet interconnected aspects, each representing a different quality of the soul. You have and forgive my language for how I pronounce this, I apologize ahead of time. So, now the first one is the Eramitama. Okay, now that represents the rough, violent, or active side of the soul. It also is associated with courage, passion, and aggression. It's often invoked during moments of crisis, conflict, or when great energy is needed. In Shinto religions, Eramitama is calmed or harmonized through purification rites to maintain balance. Now, after that, we go to the Nigamitama. That represents the gentle, harmonious, or peaceful side of the soul, associated with kindness, love, and compassion. Nigamitama is often emphasized in times of celebration, peace, or nurturing relationships. Rituals to honor this aspect includes offerings to kami, which are deities, for prosperity and well-being. Now we come to the Sakimitama. This represents the soul's capacity for happiness, fortune, and blessings. It's often linked to the prosperity of individuals, families, or communities. It's invoked in rituals and prayers for good fortune, success, and abundance. Now we come to Kushimitama. This represents the mysterious, miraculous, or spiritual side of the soul. It's associated with intuition, creativity, and divine inspiration. It plays a role in spiritual enlightenment and mystical experiences, often seen as the connection between humans and the divine. The concept of the Shiken originates from Shinto, Japan's indigenous spiritual tradition, and is influenced by animistic beliefs that view all things, humans, animals, and even inanimate objects as possessing a spiritual essence. The Shiken framework reflects the idea that the soul is dynamic and multifaceted. With each aspect playing a role in maintaining balance within the individual and the community. The idea of the Shiken has also been influenced by Confucianism and Buddhism, Confucius basically, which brought additional perspectives on the soul and its relationship to morality, reincarnation, and enlightenment. Shinto rituals often seek to harmonize the aramatama and the nigamatama aspects of the soul, ensuring balance between active and peaceful energies. Offerings to kami aim to invoke the sakamatama for blessings and prosperity. Practices such as purification through water, which is misogi or salt, are believed to align and purify the Shiken, ensuring the individual remains spiritually balanced. Many Japanese festivals, which are matsuri, involve rituals to honor the different aspects of the Shiken, particularly the Sakamatama and Kushimatama, for communal well-being and connection to the divine. The Shiken is often referenced in Japanese myth and tales where characters or deities embody one or more aspect of the soul. Deities like Amaterasu, which is the sun goddess, are often seen as embodying Nigamitama, representing harmony and light. Warrior deities or spirits might reflect Aramatama, showcasing strength and ferocity. So that is what is involved with the Shiken, and this is where I go back to the Hirakodama. Now, its placement near the anus aligns with ancient beliefs that the soul or spiritual energy could exit the body from that region. In folklore, the Hirakodama plays a significant role in explaining the violent tendencies of the kappa. These yokai are infamous for their alleged habit of drowning people and extracting their Hirakodama, often leading to the victim's death. This act of stealing the Hirakodama is thought to symbolize the kappa's desire for power or sustenance, as consuming or possessing the orbs is said to grant them vitality and strength. And I also want to make a note of one thing, that's the Aramatama. Okay, now after me saying that, you got to understand that represents the rough, violent, or active side of the soul. It's also associated with courage, passion, and aggression. It's often invoked during moments of crisis, conflict, or when great energy is needed. And when you take a look at that and then you compare it to what was just said about these creatures stealing the hirikadama, stealing the hirikadama out of the anus, it kind of makes you think of that, or at least it makes me think of that. So now the kappa drowns its victim, often by pulling them into a body of water. Once the person is subdued, the kappa uses its sharp claws to reach into the victim's anus and extract the hirikadama. After removing the orb, the kappa consumes it or stores it as a trophy. This process not only causes death, but also leaves the body of the victim in a mutilated state, further contributing to the kappa's fearsome reputation. Now, I want to also bring this up. This is another note I made about the Kushimitama. Okay, and that represents the mysterious, the miraculous, or spiritual side of the soul. It associates with intuition, creativity, and divine inspiration. It plays a role in spiritual alignment and mystical experiences. It's often seen as the connection between humans and the divine. So these rituals that are being performed at these pools, in my opinion, and this isn't fact, but it's just the way I see it, could be their way of paying respect to these kama, you know what I mean, the kami, or not the kami, but now I'm having a brain fart, the kappa, so that they won't harm them, you know what I mean. So that's just my take on it. The reasoning why they would have these pools where people come and they leave offerings at these pools for them. So also I want to make a note of another thing that I had just previously read too, and that's practices such as purification through water, which is misogi, and they also use salt. They're believed to align and purify the shikin, ensuring the individual remains spiritually balanced. So I could see the connection between a person using practicing purification through water to create balance within their shikin, and also using these same practices to calm these kappa, you know. So I mean, that's kind of the two things that stick out to me on that one. So those are some of the things I wanted to. That's one thing, or a couple of things I wanted to mention. Now, water is often associated with the boundary between life and death in Japanese mythology. The kappa is a creature of water. Embodies this. The kappa as a creature of water embodies this liminal space, and the act of taking the hirikadama symbolizes a transition from life to death. The extraction of the hirikadama from the anus highlights the cultural taboos surrounding bodily functions and the vulnerability of the human body. This gruesome detail amplifies the horror associated with the kappas. When the kappa is sometimes portrayed in a more comedic or child-friendly manner today, the concept of the hirikadama remains a potent symbol of the creature's darker, more malevolent side. Kappa are known to love cucumbers. Writing your name on a cucumber and throwing it into the water is said to appease the kappa and distract them from attacking. Kappas are bound by a strict sense of etiquette. Bowing deeply to a kappa will force it to return the gesture, spilling the water from its head, or from its dish, which is on its head, which is called the Sarah, and rendering it powerless. Kappas are more likely to target individuals who are alone, so stay in groups near water. So staying near groups near water can help deter them. The Hirokadama is a fascinating and unsettling aspect of Japanese folklore, intertwining themes of life, death, and the supernatural. Now, we have gone through all of that, and now I want to go back to the Kappas. Now, despite their playful side, like I said, they have a reputation of luring humans and animals into the water to drown them. Okay, Kappas are also depicted as strong and skillful fighters. Okay, who often challenge humans to like sumo wrestling matches. Okay, they're cunning and they use their aquatic abilities to their advantage. Now, with that being said, I want to also say that not all Kappa tales are grim. In some regions, Kappas are revered as protectors of water sources and agricultural fields. They are said to teach humans irrigation techniques or rewarding them for acts of kindness, such as refilling the Sarah on their heads. Now, the Kappa occupies a unique space in Japanese culture, straddling the line between folklore and morality tales. It serves as a cautionary figure, warning against the dangers of rivers and lakes, especially for children. Parents often use Kappa stories to instill a sense of respect for water safety. Regional varieties of Kappa legend abound in Japan. In some areas, Kappas are considered more benevolent, while in others they are feared as malevolent spirits. These tales often reflect the relationship between local communities and their water sources. The Kappa's dual nature aligns with Buddhist and Shinto philosophies, which emphasize balance and harmony in nature. In some traditions, Kappas are associated with river deities and are honored in rituals to ensure bountiful harvests or safe travel. Kappa stories often contain moral lessons. For example, the creature's vulnerability when its Sarah is emptied. Its vulnerability when its Sarah is emptied highlights themes of humility and and reciprocity. Yeah, humility and reciprocity. Tales of humans outsmarting Kappas by exploiting their rigid sense of honor underscore the value of wit and resourcefulness. The Kappa remains a beloved figure of contemporary Japan, appearing in various media and pop cultures. Kappas have inspired countless works of art, from ukiyo-e woodblock prints to modern manga and anime. Their iconic image has been reimagined in styles ranging from whimsical to terrifying. Many towns and villages in Japan celebrate their connection to Kappa legends with statues, festivals, and themed attractions. The Kappa is often used as a mascot for local products or tourism campaigns. Kappas feature prominently in Japanese cinema and television, often as characters of supernatural or comedic stories. Their portrayal varies widely, reflecting the creature's multifaceted nature. Some researchers suggest that Kappa legends may have been inspired by real-world phenomena. Animals like otters, turtles, or Japanese giant salamanders could have been mistaken for kappas in dim light of turbulent waters. The kappa's role as a cautionary figure may stem from the real risk posed by drowning or waterborne diseases in pre-modern Japan. Stories of kappa could reflect historical fears or taboos, such as the dangers of traveling alone or the sanctity of water sources. The kappa shares similarities with other water spirits in global folklore, such as the Nixie or of Germanic myths, or the Kelpie of the Scottish legends. These parallels suggest a universal human fascination with mysterious and often dangerous nature of water. And I mentioned this in my last episode too. I believe that it goes even deeper than that. You know, people don't just sit around saying we need to make cautionary tales to stop people from accidentally drowning themselves. I'm just using that in a real world experience. Usually something occurs which causes people to create these kinds of stories, you know, like there must have been situations where children were drowning because they went swimming too far out, or just went into the water when they shouldn't have, and they drowned from it. And that, in my opinion, would be first before these stories would have came along. This goes with like the mountains that I was talking about in the last episode, where things had to have happened previously before these legends and myths came about. The one about elderly being abandoned on a mountain didn't just happen so that the Japanese could say, we need to come up with something so that people don't abandon their elderly on mountaintops. The occurrence must have happened, and people took note of it and said, look, this has to stop. So they came up with these folklores and these myths and stuff. And even now they go to that mountain and they give offerings, because I personally feel that like with the dishes, can you imagine back in the day how a woman would have felt when it came to breaking a dish? It would have been horrifying for her. So Japanese women would have made it an important thing not to break dishes, and things of that nature. I feel that Japan has like a deep-rooted guilt for a lot of the things that they had as traditions, which has been deeply rooted into them. You know what I mean? Like they have this in their mindset and everything, because people don't really think about it like that until they start doing the research on this stuff. It is true. There are a lot of influences that have taken place. Like you guys remember the movie of The Well, right? Where the female demonic presence crawls up out of the well with wet hair over the face and crawls towards the television screen. That's what comes to mind when I hear that story. Did it happen? I don't know, but I can tell you that something happened in order for that to become what it was, and it's pretty interesting when you take a look at it and you look at the belief systems that the Japanese have and how deeply rooted this stuff is in their heads. But I feel that maybe there is this deep psychological sense of guilt that they have that is causing people to go to Mount Fuji and to the suicide forest to kill themselves. You know, these religious Buddhists are still doing ceremonies and giving offerings to these spirits at this mountain, at another mountain, to settle the souls of these elderly spirits who were abandoned on the mountain to die of starvation or attacks from the wild animals there. It's pretty fascinating when I look at this stuff. It has a really, really dark tone, and I think that it's darker than most of the folklores and things of that nature that are taking place around the world. But we'll see, because I've got a whole lot more that's coming up. I'm going to also, in the next episode, be getting into the Kuryotaki Tunnel in Kyoto. Now, that one, I don't know how much I'm going to pull off of it. It really didn't stick too well with me when it came to like what's going on there. Like I'm gonna go and look at the information and see what I can pull up again on that, because I've got a whole lot of stuff that I wanted to do with the Oriental stuff, and there was other things too that I did want to do, but I wanted to do this and kind of get it out there. I do have plans on visiting this more, because I do want to get into the Zen Buddhism. I want to get into a lot of the beliefs that pertain to samsara, the hungry spirits or the hungry ghosts. I want to kind of go into that a little bit deeper, but right now what I want to do is I want to focus on getting some of these stories straightened out and get through them. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I want to do 12 streams of strange stories this year. So that's something that I want to do. Like I do want to stick with some more of Japan, but I also am pretty interested in a lot of things that are coming out of Taiwan when it comes to a lot of this stuff as well. Besides Taiwan, there's other things that I have been doing research on that I still want to get into too, that are just as strange, and that has to do with the Indo-Europeans and the folklore that's involved in that. But I'm not too sure if I want to put it on Strange Stories, or if I want it to be on another one of the shows like Ancient Mysteries. That's one. But even though I can put it on Ancient Mysteries, a lot of this doesn't go back to like the BCs. And when I say the BCs, I'm like 200 AD to 200 BC, or the vice versa. Like, and me, I personally don't feel that it's ancient until it's in the BC era. I just don't really consider anything in the AD as being ancient. It's just the way I've always been. But I don't know, maybe I can put it together and do it, as ancient history. But I just don't feel good with it. So I'll figure something out and come to my final determination here before long. Because there's a lot of good there's a lot of good folklore when it comes to the Indo-European cultures, and a lot of the things that happen there with like the world tree and things of that nature, which for me kind of fits in with like the whole thing about Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji has that whole pagan belief that kind of goes into the whole world tree. And I'm not talking about the tree of life either. This is the world tree, which is something that I want to talk about, which relates to Nordic belief systems, Hungarian belief systems, Slavic. All of them have these stories, and it's pretty interesting stuff, and it's been migrated into Christianity. So I'm kind of debating on that, trying to give everybody a little bit of a catch up on that, because I think that could be a good part when it comes to strange stories. I'm not quite sure yet though, so I'm still opened up on it. I'm still wanting to find out if that's something that I want to do. So it looks like we have come to an hour of recording, which is a good thing. It's what I wanted to do. I wanted to at least get an hour in on the stream. Now, I did want to come in here and I wanted to check the chat. It looks like I have another spammer on Kick, which wants me to pay so that I can help out, or she could help me out, with my broadcast. So that's not going to happen. But I didn't get anything other than that on there. I didn't get anything on Rumble, and it looks like everything is empty on YouTube as well, and nothing is on Twitch, but I believe I just got a follow from Baby Alexis RLW69. Thank you for that. I hope that you stick around, because it still says I only have 32 followers on Twitch. I appreciate that. And with that, I guess we are good to go. I hope you guys did enjoy the show. If you did, please, leave comments. Let's have a conversation about this stuff. I really do enjoy talking about it. I don't know how many times I've mentioned that, but I wanted to say it again because it is true. I really do enjoy. I enjoy having conversations in the chat section, and I know that might sound weird, but it's true. So I am going to see what is taking place real quick. It says that I'm reconnecting on Rumble, and it's been saying that, so I'm gonna find out if we've lost connection on Rumble. So no, I guess that's the end of it. It's just it's done. Yep. So with that being said, I am out of here. I got 59 minutes of it. 59 minutes and 48 seconds. And it is recorded, so it will be back on again at a later time. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you later. Save this to live streams. live stream. Into it, I'm gonna give you guys this stuff as well. Besides Taiwan, there's other things that I have been doing research on that I still want to get into too, that are just as strange, and that has to do with the Indo-Europeans and the folklore that's involved in that. Okay, so this is interesting. It really is.